After last year's release of Shonen Jump celebratory fighting game Jump Force gained mixed to negative reviews from hardcore anime fans and gamers alike, Spike Chunsoft's next attempt into digitizing an anime adaptation was scaled back quite a bit, with the focus solely being on one series. After gaining popularity for the sheer absurdity of its premise, a self-trained superhero who is strong enough to obliterate enemies by hitting them once, One Punch Man didn't seem poised for a gaming experience, but the developers figured out a way to get around this special trait, housed by the franchise's featured figure. I didn't know what to exactly expect from a hero nobody knows, other than it being similar to last year's Jump Force from a gameplay perspective. Rather than give the player a typical startup menu where they can choose what they want to do first, a hero nobody knows thrusts the player into the game's story, with the requirement of crafting an avatar to play with instead of One Punch Man himself, Saitama. The character creation tools features parts and pieces that can be expanded upon by purchasing items in various shops or unlocked through successful battles and missions. From the hub fashioned as City Z from One Punch Man's other adaptations, the player and their avatar are allowed to complete the main narrative that took yours truly some 8 hours to finish, with one mandatory fight late in the game consuming 3 of those 8 hours alone, due to some of the game's core systems, as well as a giant difficulty boost. Side missions and certain challenges were also finished during these 8 hours, but the full Platinum Trophy experience wasn't for me, considering the amount of grinding necessary to reach statuses such as Hero Rank S and my created character attaining the highest level possible. Also from the hub is the ability to fight offline and online, with the latter taking up another hour of my time thanks to the rather active community and solid connectivities. Like several other Spike Chunsoft developed games before it, One Punch Man features a relatively simple battle system, with the player being able to pull off auto combos by hitting the light strike button that will send an opponent flying or knock them into the dirt following the conclusive attack. Players can also utilize strong strikes to push back, launch, or sweep opponents, as well as charge both light and strong strikes to break an opposition's guard, with the adversary potentially stopping a charged attack if they hit their enemy quickly enough. Blocking and throwing really tie into one another, as throws can stop an habitual blocker such as every AI enemy in the story mode. With great timing, the player can create moments of perfect guard or dodges by hitting the block button right as the player's character is being hit. Unfortunately, unlike Jump Force, perfect guard doesn't work as effectively as the character who successfully performs the action and doesn't automatically turn around to potentially hit their opponent from behind, leaving the once advantageous fighter prone to another series of attacks. Blocking also only works when someone is standing completely still. Slightly touch the analog stick while holding down the block button will completely nullify the character's guard. Under the health of each character is a stamina bar that depletes when a character dashes or performs a perfect guard, making it impossible to continuously rush opponents or perform teleporting blocking maneuvers. The character's ability meter beside their profile picture allows for the characters to pull off a variety of special attacks known as killer moves. Killer moves drain a certain number of bars to perform while being both impressive and, depending on the character, overpowered with unblockable traits. Some characters have transformation abilities if their ability meter reaches the appropriate number. The temporary transformation of a character boosts their damage output, reduces the damage taken by opposing attacks, and even unlocks a super kill maneuver that does ridiculous damage. One of the most interesting aspects about the game's fighting system is the option to switch a created character's battle styles. With up to 6 base styles and variants of those styles, the player has the chance to try out several different ways to accomplish a fight. Though some styles like the long-range psychic or weapon styles are better than the short-range specific power offering. Unlike Jump Force, the abilities unlocked are style specific, so the player can mix and match their favorite killer moves to make a true superhero, even after upgrading said style to its max level of 5. There are several RPG elements in regards to upgrading a player's avatar, including spending skill points earned with leveling up to boost the created character's health, power, the effectiveness of killer moves, stamina restoration and special meter charging, and the ability to attract other heroes to help a player in battle. These upgrades, however, prove mostly insignificant due to the game's power scaling of enemies. During missions, the player will be alerted of the difficulty of each mission depicted in the form of red fist. Though the game uses a general numbered level system in regards to the player's character, it doesn't when explaining the toughness of an upcoming battle. Enter a 3-fist level fight with an avatar that is level 10, and you will probably get obliterated. But come back at level 13 and it will be a rather easy fight. Like the source material, a hero nobody knows embraces the absurdity of everything that happens in a battle during a typical day in City Z, during both the story and when it's time to throw down, including the usage of mid-fight interruptions. Items will be brought in by drones to potentially grant the character who grabs said item temporary strength or defense boost, or may even restore said character's health. Situations like comets raining to the earth, lightning strikes, and even moles can turn a fight upside down, as well as heroes just randomly appearing. These unpredictable moments sound fun in theory, and mostly are at the start, but when the player is in the middle of a tough fight, and a meteor shower begins that results in the player losing because they couldn't avoid the meteors, it makes for one of the most frustrating experiences possible in a fighting game. During certain fights, heroes and villains will enter the fray as long as the initial fighter lives long enough, adding another health bar the opposition must deplete to win. Certain actions like performing perfect guards will decrease the time it takes for that support character to arrive. For some battles, it's totally unnecessary to hold on as the enemy will be defeated in short order. Other times, the player will be desperate for help, especially during the missions specifically made to progress the story. Said story missions where the enemy greatly outclasses the player's avatar, the player must survive long enough for a cutscene to usher the arrival of Saitama for a one-punch victory. Considering that this game's story is just an abridged version of One Punch Man Season 1, the developers added a great amount of padding, including the requirement for the player to gain a certain amount of contribution points by completing mundane side missions, fetch quest, or the fight sequences located at the heroes' headquarters. These completed extracurriculars not only provide little in terms of numbered rewards, but also unlock extra characters the player can use in the game's online modes, while said new characters usually provide new killer moves. And when it comes to the actual story, it proves underwhelming, as the player's avatar is simply shoehorned and recreated scenes from the anime, as if he or she was actually in the middle of these catastrophic events in City Z. The game allows for both offline and online, with the suggestion of always being connected to the game's server, presenting a mixed bag of qualities. While it's nice to gain extra experience points and items via online specific events, the game has a nasty habit of drawing in low-level player-created characters as support for the player's avatar during exhausting battles that will result in the extra character getting knocked out in a couple of successful hits from an enemy. Being online at all times also causes frame rate drops when moving around City Z due to avatars continuously loading. In regards to fighting online, there are only 3 options: Avatar Ranked, Team Battle Ranked, and Free Play. Only free play allows for the gamer to control certain actions and exceptions like removing interfering heroes including Saitama. Shockingly, the respective ranked modes utilize all the game's battle systems, including the usage of the One Punch Man himself in battle. Even if Saitama isn't used by any player, characters that are unlocked later in the game are definitely stronger than the earlier characters offered to play online, meaning online is less about skill and more about tiers. What makes the game's ranked modes even worse is the fact there are no filters, meaning a person with a level 9 hero could face a level 99 opponent in their first match. Beyond the aforementioned problems, there are some other glaring gameplay issues, including the animations and hitboxes in correlation with being knocked down. Each fight outside of online competitive modes features a timer that, when depleted, ends the mission in failure. In more difficult fights that will drag on as the AI becomes more defensive, Being knocked down can mean the difference between success within the time limit and having to restart a battle because the knockdown and get up animations last several seconds no matter the situation. This may not sound like a lot, but those seconds can prove crucial during the game's tougher fights. If the opponent is aggressive and starts striking combinations near downed opponents, the rising target will be struck and stuck in a series of attacks unless the adversary can pull off a perfect guard. This can be done for or against both AI and humans. The narrative presentation is also lacking in regards to the player's avatar being muted during cutscenes, though has a voice chosen by the player for pre- and post-match dialogue. With the majority of the show's voice actors not being involved in this, even the vocal scenes are lacking. And then there's the graphics that mostly look like something from a generation ago, including the painted-on look of certain items placed on a created character. There's also a room and home base each player has that they can modify with purchased and earned furniture, but it means absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things, as it's only there for aesthetic purposes. A Hero Nobody Knows is a deceptive beast, a game that feels like a dumbed-down version of Jump Force, featuring some of the absurd humor the source material is praised for during both story moments and battles. But the more time you spend with One Punch Man, the more its flaws become detrimental, while presenting another licensed video game that shouldn't exist. It's extremely hard to even recommend A Hero Nobody Knows to the most hardcore of anime-loving gamers, or those who simply love 3D arena-style brawlers featuring RPG-influenced systems and a creation tool that can prove absurd depending on what the player unlocks. But the core gameplay implementations, the tier-based gameplay featuring annoying hitboxes and animations, a lackadaisical retelling of the One Punch Man Season 1, paint by the numbers and repetitive side missions, makes A Hero Nobody Knows an unfulfilling experience. For those truly desperate, a rental is the only way to play this game. Other gamers who don't want to lose their sanity or simply waste their time on something so underwhelming should avoid A Hero Nobody Knows like a punch to the groin from Saitama.
You'll see! I can read your moves like a damn book!
Checkmate. Sorry. That wasn't on purpose. I meant to stop before hitting you, but your momentum carried my fist into your